Notably, it's been called Dramaturgy. Well, hey there. Welcome back. So what mode are you in right now? Ooh, this could be fun. Let's start with an example and dive right in on this one. Did you ever interrupt someone's conversation intentionally or unintentionally, and they sort of change the way that they're talking to talk to you? Ever been at a party chatting with your friend and you or the friend suddenly change their entire demeanor because a person comes up or their toddler? Ever hear your friend's voice go up about 3 octaves because there's a dog present and they have to greet it? Have you been privy to a work conversation only to have your friend hang up after being super formal and talk to you in an entirely different way? Well, of course you have, because you've all been privy to a change of modes. There are those in the past who have discussed something similar. Notably, it's been called dramaturgy and role theory. So instead of getting a little too deep on this, let's just do what we do here best when it comes to experimental psychology. Let's just talk about it in plain language. So are these modes you just putting a mask on? Are these modes you just sort of faking it and being one personality 1 second and one personality another second? Well, I would say no. Like so many things in the way that our brains work, I think it's a program, it's a template, it's an overlay, and we're all very familiar with this. In a way, it's sort of like multitasking. And just like multitasking, there's a glue that holds it together, and this glue is your energy. It can take some energy to switch between modes. It's more useful for you to stay in one mode for a long period of time and then make a commitment to switching to another one. Because if you don't, it can be draining and it can also feel very disingenuous. So examples of modes would be being a dad to young kids, being a worker, being a professional speaker, being a coach, being a pal out with your friends drinking, being a shoulder to cry on. And you might say, well, those are experiences. Well, they're actually modes that we have to go in. You can't take your father mode and pull that into being a CEO at your round table. I know. Hold that thought. I know you have a little bit of a thought right now about that, and we're going to explore that. Can't take your fun drinking buddy friend mode and pull that into your serious talk with your boss on your Google Meet video. You're not going to bring your charming dating self to the auto mechanic to explain to them what is wrong with your car. And again, that little asterisk keeps popping up in your brain, doesn't it? And the asterisk of, well, wait a second. There are aspects of those things that are kind of useful, right? You can have a fatherly attitude or presentation when it comes to being a CEO. You can be out with the boys being drunken, silly fools, but also kind of have a coaching attitude towards your friend who's kind of drinking too much, right? So what we're thinking about now is the overlap, which we've all experienced. And this overlap that shows us what we really are at the core. As I've talked about before, and as I explore in my latest book that is not quite out yet, and I know I should stop teasing, when you figure out your core, you really figure out a lot about what you have done, what you do, and what you will do. It's a pretty neat thing. So of all the modes I've talked about, they all could possibly overlap on each other, and that's that overlap that you are basically wherever you are. You're always that sort of same person. And there are people that say, well, you know what, I'm always the same person, no matter what activity, relationship, whatever I'm in. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's not efficient, and in some cases, it's simply detrimental to be in one mode in the wrong situation. You can think about all the permutations of that. You can pause this, or when you're done listening to this for the first or second time, you can kind of think about the different modes you have been in life, the different modes you're going in. The mode you're in right now listening to this. Maybe right now you're in the quiet, cleaning, learning, contemplative mode. As soon as you're done with this, you're on your way to work. And now you're going to, change into a different mode. Or you're on your way home, and this is kind of a way for you to decompress. And then you're going to be in wife or husband or girlfriend or father mode or what have you, whatever your family demands. Or you'll be going home to your empty house and you'll continue to be in your quiet contemplative mode. Or you'll be in your fun pajama mode where you'll just be like, this is about me now. As I said, modes are very important. They're not just one or two little choices that we make. Oh, I would say no here, I'd say yes here. I'd laugh here, I wouldn't laugh here. They are entire templates that we load depending on our function in life. There is a lot to explore, and I'm only scratching the surface in this podcast episode, as usual, because we only have so much time. The good news is I'm doing what we normally do. The first thing we do is raise your awareness about something you may have been only marginally aware of, or it might be something you weren't aware of at all. If someone said, what mode are you in? Not everyone would be like, oh, I'm in father mode, I'm in business mode, right? But we do know that. We recognize it the instant we are shown it. You know exactly what it is when someone says, oh, you take your work home, you come home and you're this bossy CEO person, this bossy this, or, oh my God, you bring that whole salesy attitude home thing. We don't need that here. Stop. That doesn't work with the kids. Just be a dad. Just be this. Just be that, right? We are even the kind of people who use different modes for what some would call the same situation. You may actually have different modes with your friends because you have one friend that you can have a serious, quiet discussion about your life and your connections to people and your marriage and things like that. You're married and you have a really good married friend that you talk to about married life and very serious things. Or adjacent to that is someone who has kids and you talk about kids and all the miracles and amazing things of raising a child. You may also have a friend who is sort of free and does lots of crazy stuff, and they're your crazy friend that you just laugh and you just sort of let go of life with. You may have a friend that is very serious when it comes to their career. They are so focused. They are so career-oriented. So all the professional stuff, all the ambition, all the planning, all that success stuff that can sometimes be nonsense is something that you talk about with this person. But if you took your success friend mode and you started talking to your silly, goofy friend, now suddenly they're like, man, you're so serious. Like, what happened to you? But you're the same person. You're just using that mode. And it feels comfortable and it feels natural. And you are not being someone who's being disingenuous. And yes, you still have integrity. And the integrity part comes from the overlap. Now that I've brought this to your attention, I think it's important for you to think about, here comes some homework. It's been a while, hasn't it? What I'd like you to think about is, which are your top modes? Which modes do you typically operate in most often? Which mode are you forced to operate in that's your least favorite? What do you notice that is a constant in all of your modes? Those are really fun questions. I mean, they're really fun questions to ask yourself. No one needs to know about this. No one needs to know about your modes. We all have modes, but no one needs to know about them. But it can be very useful for you to think about your modes because it may explain sometimes when you have difficulty in communicating with someone. It may explain sometimes when you are kind of exhausted, and it may be because you've had to switch modes way too many times. It could also be why you don't want to go to that party, why you don't want to go to work, why you don't want to go with your friend to do something when, oh, by the way, 6 other people are going to be there. You wanted to be in this intimate friend mode that you match so well with your friend, and now you have to be in more the higher level public friend mode where you can't really make those stupid jokes that you enjoy so much. It can also be why you really aren't liking the group you're a part of, or it can also be why you're having some difficulty at work because the mode that you are forced to be in at this job is probably the farthest from your core of all of your modes. It can explain a lot. Obviously, this is a very interesting and unique idea. It's obviously one of those things where it's been around and I just sort of said, hey, by the way, did you know you do this? And it bears far more investigation, explaining, and dissemination, something that I enjoy doing. So, I'm not saying this might be a book, but I'm saying this might be a book. Again, any feedback you have on this, I am super excited to hear, as always. But how do we give feedback, Mark? Well, you can go to my Patreon, and you can go there. It's totally free. You can join Patreon for free. You can join my Patreon in particular for free and interact that way. I want to keep it open in that way. There are bonuses for people who want to, level up a little bit, but who cares? It's about the interactivity and having a place to do that. Thank you, and we'll talk about this again, and take care of yourself.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray.
Join the community, patreon.com/alchemy for life.
I believe in a better day, living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.